Tired of flats ruining your weekend rides? Or wondering if your current tires are secretly slowing you down? Today, I'm revealing the absolute best road bike tires that will completely transform your speed, grip, and confidence on the tarmac. I am going to count down my top 5 picks, and by the end of this script, you will know exactly which tire deserves to be on your wheel set, including one specific model that absolutely blew my expectations out of the water and completely redefined my personal setup. Number 5. Continental Grand Prix 5000 ASTR. When Continental announced this tire, it was marketed as the ultimate 4-season workhorse that could handle wet winter roads while still retaining the beloved speed of the legendary GP 5000 lineage. I immediately slapped a pair of 28mm ASTRs onto my winter training wheels, eager to see if I could finally get race day speed in January weather. Visually, the tire looks incredibly robust, featuring a thicker tread pattern and reinforced sidewalls designed to shrug off glass, flint, and general road debris that accumulates during the wetter months. In practice, the grip on wet and greasy tarmac is genuinely impressive, giving me a lot of confidence when leaning into damp corners. The black chili compound Continental uses here is slightly tweaked to perform better in lower temperatures, and you can really feel that stickiness when the roads are less than ideal. I found myself braking a bit later than I normally would on wet descents because the front wheel felt so planted and secure. However, that extra confidence in the corners comes at a noticeable cost when it comes to raw acceleration and low rolling resistance. This brings me to my first major issue with the ASTR, the overall weight. When you hold these tires in your hands, you can immediately feel the bulk, and once they are mounted up, they make your bike feel somewhat sluggish off the line. During my testing on longer, punchy climbs, the rotational weight became quite apparent, making my usually snappy climbing bike feel like it was dragging a slight anchor behind it. It completely lacks the lively, supple feeling that you expect from a premium road tire, exchanging all that joy for sheer utilitarian durability. Number 4. Michelin Power Cup TLR Competition Line. Michelin has a long, storied history of making incredible rubber for both cars and bicycles, and the Power Cup was their highly anticipated answer to the modern tubeless road racing tire. Out of the box, these tires feel incredibly light and promise exceptionally low rolling resistance, which naturally got me very excited to test them on my deep section aero wheels. I opted for the 28mm version with the classic gum sidewalls, which I have to admit look absolutely stunning when mounted up on a fast carbon rim. When I first hit the road with the Power Cup TLRs, the sheer speed was immediately obvious. They spool up beautifully, making rapid accelerations out of corners feel effortless and highly rewarding. The Gum-X compound used in the tread provides a remarkably smooth ride, absorbing high-frequency road vibrations much better than I anticipated for a tire designed purely for competition. On perfectly paved roads, these tires sing, offering a magical floating sensation that makes you want to push harder and harder on the pedals. However, the honeymoon phase ended abruptly once I took these tires off the pristine asphalt and onto some typical, slightly neglected country roads. Puncture protection is severely lacking on the Power Cup TLR, making everyday riding an anxious affair. During my first 3 weeks of testing, I suffered 2 significant punctures that required me to use tubeless plugs because the internal sealant simply couldn't seal the larger cuts. The top tread seems unusually prone to picking up small, sharp pieces of debris, which slowly work their way through the casing over time. 3. Schwalbe Pro 1 TLE Road Bike Tire. Schwalbe has been refining their tubeless easy technology for years, and the current iteration of the Pro 1 is a beautiful testament to their dedication. Unlike the previous 2 tires on this list, my experience mounting the Pro 1 TLE was an absolute breeze. They popped onto my rims with just a standard track pump, seating perfectly and holding air immediately, which is exactly how modern tubeless road tires should behave. Out on the road, the Pro 1 TLE strikes a beautiful balance between speed, grip, and long-distance comfort. Schwalbe utilizes their proprietary Addix race compound, which somehow manages to feel incredibly sticky in tight corners while still rolling highly efficiently on the long straights. During a particularly aggressive descent on a local mountain pass, I pushed these tires hard into sweeping switchbacks, and the feedback from the road was precise and incredibly confidence-inspiring. They give you a clear indication of exactly where the limit of grip is, allowing you to lean the bike over with total trust. What impressed me most about the Schwalbe Pro 1 TLE during my testing was the remarkably supple ride quality. The internal casing is constructed in a way that allows it to deform beautifully over rough tarmac, meaning you don't get bounced around when the road surface deteriorates. This translates directly to less fatigue over a long century ride, as your upper body isn't absorbing all that micro vibration. It is a tire that actively makes your bike feel more luxurious, refined, and planted. 2. Pirelli P0 Race TLR RS tire. Pirelli has heavily leveraged their Formula One expertise to create this absolute weapon of a road tire, and the RS rightly stands for racing speed. From the exact moment I unwrapped these tires, I could tell they were something incredibly special. The exterior rubber feels incredibly soft to the touch, and the updated SpeedCore casing technology promises both dramatically lower rolling resistance and improved puncture protection compared to their previous generation. The very first time I stood up and sprinted on the P0 Race TLR RS, I was utterly blown away by the pure responsiveness. These tires feel electric on the pavement. They have an exceptionally low rolling resistance that you can genuinely feel. It almost feels like you have a persistent tailwind pushing you along at all times. Maintaining speeds over 20 miles per hour required noticeably less effort, making them an absolute cheat code for fast, flat group rides and aggressive criterium racing. Cornering on the Pirellis is nothing short of spectacular and adrenaline-inducing. The Smart Evo compound provides levels of grip that seem to defy standard physics, allowing me to take familiar corners at speeds I previously thought were impossible on a road bike. The tire profile is beautifully rounded, meaning the transition from riding straight to leaning hard on the shoulder of the tire is incredibly smooth and deeply predictable. There is no sudden drop-off in grip, just a planted, secure feeling that urges you to push your personal limits. Continental Grand Prix 5000 STR. When you talk about modern road bike tires, this is the gold standard benchmark by which every single other tire on the market is measured, and after extensive testing, it is incredibly easy to see why. Continental managed to take their already brilliant GP 5000 tubeless tire, make it noticeably lighter, faster, and significantly easier to mount. I installed these on multiple different carbon wheel sets, and each time they seated perfectly with minimal fuss, representing a massive improvement over Continental's past tubeless iterations. The ride performance of the GP 5000 STR is simply sublime from the moment you clip in. The rolling resistance is absolute class leading, providing a frictionless, gliding sensation on smooth pavement that translates directly into higher average speeds for the exact same power output. During my testing, I repeatedly broke personal records on local Strava segments without feeling like I was exerting any extra physical effort. The tire simply begs to go fast, rewarding every single pedal stroke with immediate, tangible forward momentum. But what truly elevates the GP 5000 STR above everything else on the market is its absolutely unparalleled versatility. While it boasts the wind-cheating speed of a pure time trial tire, it somehow miraculously manages to include enough robust durability to be ridden hard every single day. The Vectrin Breaker puncture protection insert is incredibly effective. I have ridden these tires through shattered glass, over sharp gravel, and across terrible city streets without suffering a single flat. It is incredibly rare to find a tire that you can fiercely race on Sunday and confidently commute on Monday, but this Continental achieves exactly that.